2023, and that date again would be pushed back by the bill July 1, 2028. In Section 5, under current law, applicants for a commercial applicator certificate are required to submit an examination fee for each exam taken and shall not exceed $45 per exam. So on page 9 of the bill, line 23, such fee is set to be reduced not to exceed $35 per examination on and after July 1, 2023. The date would be pushed back to 2028. If a person fails any such examination, the person can retake the exam upon payment of another examination fee, and the reduction date for the retake fee would similarly be pushed back to July 1, 2028 in line 28. Let's take a breath here.
As you catch some breath, any questions so far? I'm sure everybody riveted. Okay, go ahead. Continue then.
In Section 6, under current law, a certified private applicator certificate may be issued to individuals who have paid a fee fixed by rules and regulations adopted by the Secretary. On page 10 of the bill, line 29, such fee shall not exceed $10 on and after July 1, 2023. The bill would push back the reduction date for such fee to July 1, 2028. In Section 7, under current law, the application fee for a Chemigation user's permit is $75 plus $15 for each additional point of diversion. On page 11, line 30, such fee is set to be reduced on and after July 1, 2023 to $55 for the permit plus $19 for each additional point of diversion. The bill would push back the reduction date for such fees to July 1, 2028. Section 8, under current law, the fee for certification as a Chemigation equipment operator or renewal is $25. The fee is set to be reduced to $10 on and after July 1, 2023. The bill would push back the reduction date to 2028. In Section 9, page 13, starting on line 13, the current application fees for water appropriation permits are set to be reduced on and after July 1, 2023. The bill would push back that date to July 1, 2028. Similarly, on line 37, the reduction date for the application fees for a permit to appropriate water for storage would be pushed back to 2028. In Section 10 on page 15, line 11, the current application fees to change the place of use, the point of diversion, or the use made of appropriated water is set to be reduced on and after July 1, 2023. The bill would push back the reduction date to 2028. Section 11, page 16, line 1, the application fees for a term permit to appropriate water would be reduced on and after July 1, 2023. The bill would push back that date for the fees to 2028. Similarly, in line 24, on page 16, the application fee reduction date for term permits to appropriate water for storage would be pushed back from July 1, 2023 to 2028. In Section 12, under current law, one step of perfecting a water right is completing the construction for appropriation works or to apply water for a proposed beneficial use. When that step is complete, the person is supposed to notify the chief engineer, and the chief engineer conducts a field inspection. On page 18, line 13, this requires payment of a field inspection fee of $400 on and after July 1, 2023. The fee is set to be reduced to $200. The bill would push back the reduction date to July 1, 2028. On that same page, page 18, fees are required to request an extension of time to complete a diversion work or perfect a water right. Such fee is set at $50 until July 1, 2023, when it will be raised to $100. Similarly, a fee is required to be paid to reinstate a water right or a permit to appropriate water. Such fee is set at $100 until July 1, 2023, when it will be raised to $200. The bill on page 18, lines 23 and 28, would push back such fee increase dates until July 1, 2028. And then section 13, last but not least, under current law, the application fee for a temporary permit to appropriate water is set at $200 until July 1, 2023, and then it'll be reduced to $100. On page 19, line 1, the bill would push back such reduction fee date until 2028. House Bill 2560 would become effective upon publication in the statute book. With that, I'd be happy to take any preliminary questions.
Okay, Kyle, I'm sure we have lots of them, so if I could get everybody's hand, no. Representative Shue.
I missed that. Could you do that again? No, for my real question is, for many of my other committees, we get the reviser's brief either in the committee testimony online or emailed out. Could we get that?
I will be happy to send a copy of my brief to the secretary. My apologies, I've been a little behind, definitely not 2 days in advance of getting the briefs together, much less an hour with the things are going on. But I will promise to send them out as soon as I can.
Thank you.
Yeah, before we work it, we'll have ample time to go over it, and these guys have been, and gals have been crushed with stuff, so, and it's probably more detailed than what again, one of these simple bills, there's a lot to it. So, Representative Fairchild.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to clarify, there's nothing in this bill that increases any fees, correct? It's just simply extending the current fees for a certain period of time.
Correct.
Okay, other questions? Representative Minix.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I heard, you're going to reduce the temporary fees from $200 to $100. That would be like application for a commercial or industrial use of a current irrigation right for oil exploration or something of that nature. Those fees are cut in half.
Are you referencing the language in section 12 concerning water appropriation or something else?
I believe the temporary permits.
Okay, so that was in section 13. So currently, the fee for a temporary permit to appropriate water is set at $200. And then on July 1, 2023, that's when it would be reduced to $100. But the bill would set that reduction date back to 2028. So it would stay $200 until then.
Okay, thank you very much.
Other questions? Saying none, thank you.
Mr. Chair, this is Representative, if I may.
Representative Jacob, sorry about that.
Thank you, sir. So if I'm hearing this bill correctly, one, who requested this bill draft? And on a follow-up, everything's already sunset for 2022, 2021, but we're just wanting to move everything to 2028. Is that what I'm hearing correctly, Kyle? Thank you, Mr.
For the most part, it's 2023 to 2028. These programs, these fees permits, they fall under the Kansas Department of Agriculture, and the department requested the bill.
Other comments, Representative Jacobs?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else online? I apologize. I did not bring my computer. I came directly from the floor, so I don't. Okay. All right. Let's. Thank you, Kyle. Okay, we'll have testimony and our proponents. And first up is Kenny Titus from the Department of Agriculture. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Kenny Titus, Chief Counsel for the Kansas Department of Agriculture. That was more exciting to hear that read in its entirety than any summary I could give. But to very briefly explain this is a simple bill with lots of text, but as you guessed, there are a number of fees and permits in our Division of Water Resources and our pesticide and fertilizer program that are set to sunset July 1, 2023. And we're just asking that that sunset be extended for an additional 5 years. There are no fee increases included in this bill. These fees were originally put in place in 2009 in both cases. They were extended in 2014. They were extended again in 2017. And we're just asking for another extension at the current levels. And we think that evidence is responsible use of this fee authority, and would ask for just the current levels to continue. I would also add the water tap program extension is a little bit different. It's not a fee fund, but it's a program that's used to retire water rights, and we use it in high-impact areas. It was first started in 2006. It's funded out of the State Water Plan Fund. Over the life of the program, we've retired 25 water rights at a cost of about $1,300 per acre foot, which is well below market price of a water right currently, but about 2,500 acre feet of historic consumptive water use has been retired. It's been a helpful program. For example, the most currently approved area is in, around Leota, and they're retiring water rights to protect and sustain municipal wells for that community. So it's a helpful program, and we don't see any reason not to continue that as well. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions, Mr. Titus? Representative Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kenny, thank you for being here, and thanks for your overview. Real quickly, and I've been on this committee for many, many years, and I remember doing these same bills. I like the 5-year renewal as opposed to the 2-year renewal. But how come that's not done through rules and regulations? How come that has to be done in statute? That's the thing that puzzles me, and I would just like an answer to that.
We can do some digging. Maybe the revisers or research could help us. It's like I said, they were put in place earlier than 2009. This extension was put on. There was an extension prior to 2009, but they were raised in 2009, and then they've been steady. It's been a legislative decision to place them here. I couldn't tell you the rationale.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Representative Jacobs?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kenny, has the department gone out to the public and got any public input on what you guys are proposing right now for these new sunsets?
We've shared the bill with some stakeholder groups, but not anything beyond our normal legislative outreach. We haven't had any objections to holding the fees steady.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Representative Carlin?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kenny, you were going, we've heard a lot of information here, and I was looking for the bill, so I finally found it. Talk to me again about you said the retiring water rights. Is there a fee to retire water rights? There's
not, but the authority to operate the program sunsets on July 1 of this year. And so we wanted to extend that sunset as well. So that's why I say it's a little bit different. It's not a fee like the other things we talked about, but it has a sunset, and it's one of our programs.
Well, I don't understand what it is. Did you call it the water tap extension?
So yeah, water tap is shorthand. It's for the Water Right Transition Assistance Program, and they identify areas typically with declining aquifers. There are some stream valleys, alluviums that are targeted as well. But what they do is they try to take state water plan funding. We couple that with federal funds and local match funds in some cases, and try to identify water rights that people will voluntarily give up for essentially a grant payment to get that water use off the books and try and create a more sustainable water level.
Okay, thank you. I might just comment, Mr. Chair, the reason for bringing this forward every 2 years, 5 years, whatever it is, I would guess might be because it gives public awareness that you don't get if you adjust it each time in rules and regs. I would hope that would probably be the answer. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Other questions? All right. Thank you, Kenny. Stand by in case we have some later on. Also, to testify in favor, Claudia Hissong, the Kansas Farm Bureau, And you've been waiting all day. This is your first time to testify, correct?
Yes, it is. So
All right.
thank you, Chairman, members of the committee. As you said, I'm Claudia So with Kansas Farm Bureau. We are supportive of the measures within House Bill 2560. And normally this would be something that we would provide written testimony on in support of, but we wanted to take the opportunity to show our appreciation to the department for extending these fees and penalties without fee increases. So with that, thank you for the time, and I'll take any questions you may have.
Any questions? All right. Okay, that's what I have down for in person. So we have written only from Stan Miller from Western Groundwater Management District. Sorry about that. Written only from Stan Miller, Western Groundwater Management District Number 1, and Shahira Safford with the Kansas Cooperative Council. Anyone else in the audience that wants to testify in favor of this bill? Seeing none, anyone, or online? Seeing none, hearing none. Anyone testifying against the bill? Seeing none, hearing none. Anyone to testify neutral on this bill? Randy Stuckey from Feed and Grain.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. We'll be brief. When we're neutral on the bill, we don't like to pontificate too much, but as these fees directly impact, they're on agribusiness broadly. So for today, Kansas Grain and Feed Association and Kansas Agribusiness Retailers Association, Randy Stuckey, Senior Vice President, General Counsel for those two associations. We did submit neutral testimony today, and we appreciate the agency working with us and presenting this bill to us before introducing it as a bill. And why it's important, we're neutral. You know, we appreciate the fact that the current fees are being extended and not increased. We wanted to take the opportunity to let the committee understand that in Kansas, these fees that are discussed in this bill, they're broad against both grain elevators and agribusiness, both the inputs for fertilizer and crop protection chemicals. Those fees in the state of Kansas, for various reasons, are higher than most states in the Midwest, to include Missouri, Nebraska, Oklahoma. Those fees on pesticides, and it was mentioned the fertilizer tonnage fee, they go to fund other things outside of the KDA program for which they are collected, and that's set out in statute. They go to the state water plan fund, a big $1.40 of the $1.67 on the fertilizer tonnage fee, in fact, goes to the state water plan fund. So there's a reason why those fees are higher than in Kansas than other states. Also, the Ag Chemical Remediation Reimbursement Fund. That's the CARB fund that this committee will receive a report every year on. Helps the ag industry to clean up soil and groundwater across the state since 2002. Over $20 million, in fact, have come off of a portion of these pesticide and fertilizer fees, and goes to this remediation fund and then is spent back into the to help pay for the costs of the remediation. So there's reasons why those fees are higher in Kansas than other states, but it's important that we then don't increase the fees now or going forward if we are in that position where we're already higher than the other states. I wanted to make that point. And then the other point that wanted to take the opportunity to speak to today is I don't have to tell most people on this committee that it's unfortunate, but the position that we're in post-COVID, just like when you go to the grocery store and you see the shelves are bare and you order things online and it takes weeks or months to get those items, so have the fertilizer and ag chemical industries been impacted by COVID. You know, for various reasons. Globally, we operate in a global market where the inputs for ag chemicals principally come from one country or have historically in recent times, and that's based on cost. If the cost is such that it's a driver to get to source those ag inputs from one country or one region, then that's what's going to happen. And as that country has pulled back from during COVID on production for those ag inputs, that has only both increased the price for the ag inputs, but also made them less available to the ag retailers, and it has, and then to the farmer. So you've probably heard about that, and you're going to continue to hear about that. It's not a problem that's going to be rectified in the near future, probably a 2-year cycle if we can spin up production now. Then again, on the fertilizer inputs, there's a reason why fertilizer prices have increased. And so, that has to do with sourcing the fertilizer from one country and then looking now, as they pulled back on production, to other countries. And when you do that, you're going to have a price penalty to source that fertilizer from other areas of the world. We live in a global market, and we react and respond, the prices do, to that global market. And COVID has forced changes in how we source our inputs. So that all goes to the issue of the cost that the retailers pay on these products. And so we appreciate during this time, this bill coming forward without an increase in those fees that are laid onto the pesticide and fertilizer industry. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd certainly stand for questions, not too many on that issue, but at the appropriate time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stuckey. And if I would look closer, you were on the agenda, so very good. Questions for Representative Minix.
Randy, I think the pesticide and the fertilizer fees contribute about $5.7 million to the Kansas Water Office $12 million budget. Am I close?
Yeah, it's going to be fluctuated in any given year, but that was the deal that was struck. I think the date was said earlier this session back in the 90s, where it was a third. The idea was a third from ag industry to include the cattle industry. And then municipalities pay about a third, and then that final third was to come from SGF. And you're right, that's where those monies come from.
As time's gone along, I believe the ag industry has supported the Kansas Water Office plan to a far higher degree than that 1/3 is the point I'm trying to make.
For sure, yeah. That's since 2009, you've probably heard that not in full the part from SGF and EDIF, the $6 million or $8 million, has not been funded or was not funded since 2009 until last year in full, and so I think the number was. Certainly over 50 million, may have been over $80 million by last year that ag has put into the program for the state water fund, and the municipalities put in their money, but the state did not. So you're right that we've held up our end of the bargain.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bennett, you have another question?
No, just thank you.
All right, thank you. Representative Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Stuckey, with your neutral testimony, are you in a way requesting maybe some lower fees? I know that the question of individuals trying to actually be able to afford fertilizer this year is really weighing on a lot of people. So just a question or a thought out there. If you could answer that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Representative. The issue, there's a lot of angles involved there. Those monies go to a lot of different causes, and so it would probably take a lot more thought and deliberation on what to do with those fees.
All right. Other questions? Seeing none, Randy, thanks for being to committee.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else wanted to testify neutral or any on this bill? All right, seeing none, we close the hearing on House Bill 2560. Okay, committee, if you received your email, looks like we are off tomorrow. So, and Thursday will be pro forma on the floor, but up to the committee chairs. So watch your email. At this time, we will plan on holding our hearing on Thursday. So probably about the same time. Shouldn't take, unless you have a lot of questions about boll weevil and cotton production, it shouldn't take that long. But it's an important bill, and I want to get it moving forward. So that is the plan. You will be able to join virtually if you decide to go somewhere else, and we won't be doing final action. But I do want you to be aware of that bill on Thursday. So unless something changes, and Terry or I will send you an email probably Thursday by noon if weather conditions are such that we decide to postpone that. So just keep that in mind. Next week will be, right now, early, we will get this in, but right now we're not planning on meeting on Monday or on Friday. And then we'll have the hearing, at least one or two next week. And then next Thursday, we are planning on discussing and action on some of the bills we've already heard. So just, again, keep that in mind. So that's kind of as we move ahead. Anything else for the good of the committee? Again, we will be closed as legislature tomorrow, but back at it on Thursday. So with that, we are adjourned.